welcome to the Margins Podcast.
Welcome to the Margins Podcast, where we talk about books, ones that leave a mark, start a conversation, or stay with you long after the last page. As always, my name's Stranton, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Cristiano.
And today we have a very, very special treat for you guys.
It's going to be fun.
It's gonna be fun. Our guest today, he's an author and illustrator whose work spans from explorations of faith and family to the dark edges of horror. His debut novel, A Fig for All the Devils, took home the IBPA Best in Horror Award and has been described as a fictionalized memoir wrapped in fiction, a raw, unsettling, and strangely funny coming-of-age story set in Tillamook, Oregon, where grief and the Grim Reaper both come knocking. And if that wasn't enough, readers can also look forward to his newest release, Banana Brain. It is our pleasure to introduce to our audience C.S. Fritz. Casey, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Dude, thank you for the intro. Very kind.
Yeah, of course, man. I had to treat you right. I
appreciate the invite to join you guys. It means a lot.
Yeah, of course. Casey is just the man because I'm gonna reveal something shortly, but just for the audience, we read this book in the last week.
Yes,
we had planned to do this book for this week's release, and the last ditch effort, I was like, why not try reaching out to him?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, it's Halloween week. Everyone in this chat has kids. We trying to figure that all out, and it was kind enough to join us. So thank you again, Casey, for that.
Dude,
yeah. It's we'll be getting into the book and everything, but I did have to tell you about our connection. As you could see,
yes,
A Fig for All the Devils is right here. Not only is it here, but it is actually signed.
Oh.
And doodled on. I am part of the Bricked Up Book Club with David Flores. Yeah.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah. So what Casey doesn't know or didn't know until now, David Flores, friend of the pod, also in the book club that I'm in.
Wow.
We were talking about books we wanted to read. This one came about, and Dave Quiggle, tattoos you, correct, Case?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at Old Rose Tattoo, yes. And we all got books for the book club. We actually just did we met for it on Saturday.
Oh wow.
Me, David, Max, and then our buddy Tim, who used to work at the shop too.
Dude.
But yeah, I wanted to keep that hidden for a second.
Yeah. Dude, that's freaking rad. Oh yeah, and now I see the sticker back there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, it was so funny when I was hanging out with Quiggle. Quiggle's like I had to be super chill around him because he was an idol of mine growing up. So I tried to be cool around him, but then he's like, "Hey, you told me about this because I haven't given me a Reaper tattoo." And then it all happened by happen chance that the crew wanted to read this one anyway, and then he was tattooing me. So it was a total sort of like fate, kismet, like total random thing that it happened this way. So that's super sick, dude.
Yeah, I actually texted David right before this. I didn't let the rest of the book club know because I knew our chat we have a group thread, and I knew it was going to be popping off the whole time if I told him. But David would keep it cool. But yeah, they actually were supposed to be guests this past weekend. No, 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
We were going to be covering Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 2. But as I know this seems, out of the realm of possibility, but we're having technical difficulties with the software.
Good old Riverside.
Good old Riverside. So that's postponed. We're actually going to be meeting with them on the 15th, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, man, we like I said, we read the book. Cristiano was able to check it out this past week too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, again, thanks again for jumping on here with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate it.
Heck yeah, dude. No, I was honored to be asked. It means a lot.
Yeah, and then to find out you're out here by us too. You're in LA.
Dude, I knew when you asked too. He's like, I'm in LA, and I was like, okay, if I can join him, I will. But it was like, I bet they're going to be on like the east side.
Yeah.
As soon as I was like, there's going to be too good to be true. If they're like, we're in Culver City, be like, oh, dude. But once
And on top of that, the ask. I mean, I was up till was it just before midnight last night because of the Dodger game. I live literally right by Stadium Way. Basically, it's my backyard.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm hoping by what time I leave and when the game ends. I mean, if it goes 18 innings, then we'll see. But I didn't want to have to ask you to come this side either way, even if it was halfway through. But I figured it was last ditch.
Yeah, I would love to be there if I could. Yeah, I couldn't make it. I couldn't swing it today. So.
No worries.
Not an issue. Not an issue.
Not an issue at all. One of the things we do, something I wish I would have taken care of in but we have a thing called Between the Wines. We do a paired wine with the book each week. Cristiano took the reins this week and chose a great one.
Yeah. So this week I chose The Prisoners. Not sure if you can see that.
Yeah.
All right. So the reason why I chose this wine, honestly, I spend some time in Total Wines every week, but I saw ones with like angels and devils and things like that. I was like, okay, that's pretty low hanging fruit. But like while I was reading the book, one thing that stood out to me was actually like the concept of being a prisoner of your own situation. So I'm a prisoner of the moment, and there's like a duality in like you don't understand your freedom until you're a prisoner, and to really become acquainted with life, death, you need death. Like death's like a integral part of life. So that kind of duality, I really enjoyed reading that in the characters. And so basically, I was like, I think that this one is more inherently like one-to-one with the book than me just getting a wine that has a Grim Reaper on it.
Dude, I love that. I also love just the idea, and I'm so mad that I'm just realizing how cool this idea is now. But just even the idea of, dude, the only way you get good wine is from smashing and destroying grapes. You know what I mean? Like you have to be crushed for something beautiful to come out of it. So that's very cool. I will try that wine. I will look for that wine and try it. I also spent a lot of time in Total Wine or Bevmo or whatever. But so that's rad.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna wear, but I knew you probably spot it right away. I have a Old Rose Beer Club T-shirt. I wore it 2 episodes ago, and that's the only reason I didn't. But I thought about doing that too. So I know the guys are big beer drinkers there. So, but yeah, we if you see us partaking, that is what it is.
I'm jealous.
Audience, yeah. We'll have to have you on again.
Yeah, next time.
We'll do it right.
Next time.
But yeah, so getting to know you, if we stumbled upon teenage Casey, and okay, I did want to put this in. I put Oregon or Arizona. At what point did you move to Arizona?
I moved to Arizona when I was a freshman in high school, so 1998, and then I was in Oregon since I was like 8 years old. So whatever the math and the years were that. So yeah.
What part of Arizona?
I spent majority of my time in Prescott, Arizona. So it's like an hour and a half north.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sure you saw my number that I sent you in the email was a 480. So I actually met my wife out. She's born and raised in Arizona. I'm originally from here, but I spent some time out there.
Oh, okay.
But we lived she grew up in like Gilbert Mesa area.
Yes.
And we always went to Prescott because all typically with the Airbnb or a friend's cabin, it's always a great area to be in.
Dude, that's so funny because as well, I actually still have family in Gilbert Chandler area, so there's a lot of geographical connections there. That's rad.
That's funny. If we were to run into teenage Casey, what scene would we find him in? Music blasting, sketchbook in hand, library.
Oh, I mean, and then here's the craziest part. Like, obviously, if you guys read Fig for Little Devils, like you saw my life, so you saw my vibe. You're probably, if you ran into teenage Casey, you're definitely going to see teenage Casey eating probably a bowl full of graham crackers with milk, by himself watching old tapes of horror in the living room, trying to hide from something. So that was pretty much my life. As I was just in front of a TV, that was the babysitter, and I was eating whatever I could with in cereal form. And so that's probably teenage Casey, which is it sounds depressing, but at the same time, I think at that time I was probably pretty pumped.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think about director. I'm a actor by trade, so whenever I hear about like other actors, directors, a lot of writers too, that seems to be my education came from being
Yeah.
in front of a stack of movies from Blockbuster, Hollywood Video,
Yeah.
for the weekend or whatever it may be, so that makes sense.
Yeah, there's something I think as well as like pretty primal that sort of gets in your bloodstream when you watch it at such pivotal ages that sort of change you and transform you. It's part of your becoming when you were shaped by those sort of like I don't know, they're just more than stories. They become relatives or they become I don't know, part of your DNA. So yeah, I think any good storyteller, like you said, or good creative has to have something that was forming them in sort of a unique time period that was beyond books. And it feels like film was majority for people who, especially in the horror realm. And it seems like you guys like that you had to have that sort of exposure.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We're kind of always referencing various movies from our childhood. I've always loved. I can't say I lean crazy hard into horror, but some of my favorite ones. I'm always touting 13 Ghosts is one of the
Yep.
top horror movies ever. I don't think it gets enough recognition.
13 Ghosts is great, dude. That movie is straight up visceral and funny, and that's a lot of fun. That movie.
Yes, yes. But you said in a Fic for All the Devils is a fictionalized memoir.
Yep.
Do you ever find yourself writing for your kids, or not in the sense of like making them characters, but in the sense of leaving something behind that they themselves will understand and connect with later?
Damn, dude, you guys coming straight in with these like hard hitting, emotional, deep questions. This is great. I think my approach to any creative effort will always be, and I think this is probably all good art or tries the attempt at good art should always be one part autobiographical, and then so there's always an element of that, and I'm always hoping that the autobiographical is me leaving something for the kids. So like there's an aspect of A Fig for All the Devils where my children get to hear my story and my hope and my redemption through that. But beyond that, I would say that everything I try to do would probably be for my kids. So I'm writing this way biographically in order to teach them or parent them or love them or guide them through stories in a way that just never happened with my own childhood. And so I think it's a great question. I think I probably it's a duality of both, as much as I possibly can. That hey, learn from this, understand this. I don't know if I'm understanding your question correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's
You nailed
beautiful.
it. You nailed it.
Yeah. What can we find you reading these days? Like where do you find you draw inspiration from reading from others, or is it more so like just directly from life experience as you have so far?
Um, I mean, yeah, it's probably all the above. Dude, my life has been so crazy. I usually try to give myself like a Goodreads 75 books a year type goal, and I've
My
always
guy.
been able to hit it and do more. This has been the gnarliest, craziest, busiest season and chapter right now, and so a lot of my reading sadly has dried up. But I did just start picking up, which I'm excited about, which is the I think it's called The Death of Jack Sparks. I don't know if you
Okay,
guys,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Alan Moore fan, and I saw that he was raving about this book, which they said is like one part haunted house, one part found footage, but in book form. And I was like, oh, hell yes. So I just literally started that 2 nights ago because I've been craving fiction. So I wanted to try something fast paced and hard and modern because oftentimes, I don't know about you guys, I try to read modern, and then I feel so much guilt for what for not having done the classics yet, or
Yes.
something that's like, oh, dude, I first got to finish Dostoevsky or something like that before I sit down here and do some random, local author or whatever. So I'm just trying to let that go and just try to find reading that I'm actually just enjoying to take my mind away right now. But I just started, I think it's The Death of Jack Sparks, or Jack Sparks at least, or whatever. But I'm super pumped on that. I read a lot of theology. And so I'm constantly reading theology as much as I can, but I couldn't even remember any books right now off the top of my head. I'm consuming like crazy.
It's so funny you bring up so many of those points. I do have to go back and say that to this day, if cinnamon graham crackers in a bowl with milk, eat them as fast as you can while they're still like crunchy, still my favorite.
Bro,
my favorite.
Dude, here's where you're gonna hang up on me. I want the SOG, bro.
Oh, do you?
I want all of my stuff to. I will let a bowl of cereal sit on the counter until it's soggy.
No.
Oh my
No.
I want the texture of vomit, bro. I love soggy.
So when you say you like horror, that callback, but also this past weekend when we met with the boys in the book club, that was actually not the soggy cereal, but what we're reading and what we deem or like think of ourselves as horror. But one of the guys, Tim, he was having a hard time. He classified this one obviously horror, but he said like I come across so many books that say that they're in the genre, but it just doesn't check the box that I feel it should. And we were going through them all, and I was telling him, like, oh, have you read Crime and Punishment? Because that is just like a fever dream of like being in the brain of like in the head of someone who's going through. You know, I think of that, and is it Native Son?
Christopher Buehlman.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up because the book club we read Christopher Buehlman. We actually just covered it again. Chris just started following us on the podcast as well, trying to get him on. But we just did
Between Two
Fires. Yeah, Between Two Fires, and then we're also going to be doing Those Across the River because that was crazy good too. But yeah, that's like as we like to dabble back and forth between modern and the classics.
Yeah. So I know we only got you for a little while, so I do want to spend some time diving into the book because I enjoyed the read, man. Yeah. And I'll skip to the end and say what I really enjoyed about it was that it wasn't.
Wait. Are you going to spoil?
I'm not going to spoil. I promise. I promise. Okay. I'm a serial spoiler, okay? But I'm not spoiling it. This is just for everyone who's thinking about getting into this book or just, I'm on Reddit all the time and people are always talking about like, I haven't read a book in a long time. What's a good book for me to get back into reading? This is perfect. It's great. And what I really like about it is the girth isn't crazy. Pause. You know what I mean? Like, it's very easy to get through. You don't feel like you're spending a lot of time reading, although a lot happens. The story does progress quite a bit. But, sometimes when you're reading a book, you're like, wow, this book could have ended already. And when your book ended, the first thing I thought of was like, actually, this could have went on longer. Yeah. Like, I just started to really connect with some of those characters. I'm like, I would love to see more. Of the character, especially like Sonny. I really thought that he started to fill out as a character and like mature later on in the book. His relationship with Jess, etc. So I thought that was really cool. So with that being said, because I don't want to spoil anything, let's just get into the book so I won't be spoiling nothing.
Yeah. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you.
Of course. So we always try to go over like themes and conversational hooks. Just for people who might be thinking about getting into the book, I just want to know a little bit more about it. And so, in this book, inheritance of pain is something that I think it's a very deep theme within the book. So when you first meet Sonny, he's dealing with his father's suicide, his mother's coldness, and, there's a question that might pop up saying what's passed down. But really my question is really like, how tough was it to write that? Because when I was reading it, I was like, that's so deep because this is his perspective of what happened, right? Yeah. When people pass away, when someone commits suicide, there's a lot of like blaming that happens. Oh, this is my fault. This happened because they didn't care about me. And then like his relationship with his mom and the perceived coldness that she had with him. And then versus the relationship that they developed later on when connecting over the father not being there. So that kind of came full circle for me when I was reading. But just kind of going into that inheritance of pain part, was that something that you were like trying to get through in writing, or were you just like, hey, this happened in my life, or this is something I seen, let me put it down on wax?
Incredible question. I will just say, I don't know if you guys noticed in the dedication of the book that was it was dedicated to my therapist.
Yes.
So my therapist, obviously, there was something extremely therapeutic about seeking to understand the origins of my pain, or the processing of my pain, or the redemption of my pain. And so there was a giant effort in writing this book and understanding my life, where I just wanted to be sort of the person who breaks the generational curses. And so, for an example, my son's 19 now. He's the last living male Fritz in my entire genealogy. And
Wow.
he's a solid dude, and he didn't get the shit kicked out of him growing up, and he wasn't around incest and rape and alcoholism like I was. And so for my son, I worked my ass off to piss in the gene pool so that his life could start on the right path. And so, and it's true of my daughter as well, but my daughter, I'm assuming, won't carry on the Fritz name. Nonetheless, the inheritance of pain, it's sort of a unique, fragile concept in Fig for All the Devils, at least in my experience in life, where it is absolutely the breaking point and the point of beauty. And so to try to find that balance and trying to just verbal vomit, I wasn't expecting a Fig for All the Devil to be electric, lightning in a bottle. That took me by surprise. We've been very fortunate by its success and its awards and its movie deals and sort of its long, its legs that it has. We've been shocked by it. So I agree with you that I actually think the book's too short, but I was never expecting the book to be what it was. So I say all of that because I wasn't writing in such a way that I ever assumed my mother would read it, my dad would read it, my grandparents, like pick any of them, my sister would read it. I never anticipated it. So the way I wrote was very much vomit, vomit, vomit. Get it all out there. And that was me sort of dealing with this in a way of putting like a pin on it. So I went through 13 years of therapy. I did the work. I understood all of the beauty, the aspects, the processing, all the stuff we were talking about. And then this was my sort of final, swan song of me dealing with so much of my past. And so I don't know if I'm answering your question ultimately, that I think I did try to understand sort of generational curses and things like that. But the entire point of this was I will not let that affect me one day more moving forward. And so
Right.
it's present in the book. It was inherited to Sonny. And then Sonny started making choices. And there's a real pivotal moment that was true in if Sonny's life, which is true of my life, is where you go, okay, my parents are not making wise choices, smart choices. And if you remember, there's a line in there that says that's the moment you lose all respect for them. So you lose all respect for your parents the minute you realize that. That was a pivotal moment for me, recognizing that every single day moving forward from that moment of writing in this book will be me choosing choices that are actually for the betterment of myself, my family, my future, unlike you who only made choices for yourself. So that was sort of the ball of wax that I knew sort of carrying into this, and now even reflecting on what Fig was for me 5 years ago now, whatever it came out. That was sort of the hope, the intent, the realization, but never did I anticipate it would actually be received or picked up or do all the stuff that I was sort of mentioning. So it's kind of shocking. I would have changed it quite a bit or softened it with my mom. My mom's read it. We can talk about that. That was a whole ordeal of her reading it. But anyway.
No. Honestly, so I'll wedge my way into this. The our bread and butter for this podcast. We started off, as I told you, on Instagram when we were messaging. We're not a podcast that does like 5 stars or this is S class or this is whatever it may be. We found out pretty early on that the things we have in common, we used to work together and everything, was we like talking about how whatever we were talking about reflected in our lives as friends, as fathers to our kids, to partners to our partners and all that. So we came up with a segment called 5 Hard Questions. We haven't started them, but we have covered. But we have kind of covered. You went across, I think, 3 of them with Cristiano's help. So the first one I had in there was talking about the book, I had a quote on here that says you called the book a fictionalized memoir
Yeah.
to the ninth degree. Is it the ninth? Yeah. Um, and it says, when you saw Sonny's story unfolding on page, what did it reveal about your own past? Whether about healing, realization, or something else. So I felt like you touched on that. And then also, I put in a bonus question, and I put, when you set out to write a story, that's part memoir, but wrapped in fiction.
Yeah.
How did you prepare? Did you find yourself reaching out to family or friends beforehand, or did you just write and let them respond afterward? I asked this question because I've similarly written, screenplays and shorts, and a lot of times have taken the path that you just explained, where it's just like, I need to get this out.
Yeah.
It's therapy.
It's therapy. I don't expect it, to be A, B, or C.
Yes.
I've also met with other people that have done the same thing, and I had asked them too. And so, yeah, definitely would love to hear your side of that.
Yeah, I didn't reach out to any family. And I didn't reach out to any of them. And I think, not to be like a douchebag, I didn't want them to color it. I didn't want, like, this was my experience, and not that I'm not like the guys like, your truth is your truth or something. Like, I just meant, like, in the sense, like, truth is truth, but at the same time,
Yeah.
what you feel, there's something to that. And because I knew this was a memoir but fictionalized, I think I was just going to press into this, that this felt more extreme, or this felt more painful, or this felt more, pick anything. And so I was just gonna do that. And then when there was time to be hyperbolic, I was, and when there was a time to be absolutely real, I was. And my story growing up, especially in the years where Eugene was in my life, dude, I didn't have to do a lot of dramatization or be hyperbolic that much. It was that real. And so that was the most therapeutic part. Was actually trying to be as honest as possible without it. The most fictionalized part in this isn't Eugene, the abuse, the thing I saw him do to the cat, all this stuff. That's not the fictionalized part. The only fictionalized part, clearly, is the Reaper. But that was me writing in such a way where I was just begging for somebody to freaking break in my life and help me. So I say all that because when it's just Sonny and his mom or whatever, that part's all real. And I wrote that purely from memory. I wrote that purely from heart and stuff that has stained my brain. Post then, talking to my mother about it, that's her memory as well. So I kind of hit the nail on the head, thankfully, that she was like, nope, this is what I remembered. And she goes, you painted it vividly. But so I was close to the truth, even in her own, reflection.
Wow.
Yeah. I think that the self-reflective part of Fig for All the Devils is one of my favorite pieces of it. Like, you actually hit on my favorite part, and it is where he says that the moment you see that your parents are making bad choices, you lose respect for them, because there's a very noticeable change in Sonny, and he went from blaming his mom and the coldness to saying, like, I actually have to protect her. Like, now this is my chance to move that needle, and he kind of shifts his own seat of power. And I thought that was, for me, I thought that was like one of the most powerful sequences in the book. But yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. That was great. That's great.
Mm-hmm. That's encouraging. And just for what it's worth, I agree with you. And what I had to tell my mother before she read it, and I almost dedicated the book to her, which would have seemed like cruel. But the point is that really is a love letter to my broken mother. The entire book, you can actually see the book for what it is. This is not a kid hating his mom. This is a kid assuming, and this isn't right, but it is a kid assuming responsibility for her. And so I'm not saying that's right, but I had to learn how to move beyond pity for my mother towards compassion for her. And Fig for All the Devils was sort of the bridge to be able to do so.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, wow. One of my favorite things, my family's big into music, is I always love to hear the background of like how a song's written and everything. And this is probably the closest thing not the closest, but the first time I've felt that same way about finding out how the book was written. So I appreciate you being open and vulnerable about that.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
that makes the story that much more beautiful, amazing. in horror still, you know.
Yeah. Um, this is something we can probably get into another time, but
I got
also
time.
really
Yeah,
love
yeah, I
you
got time.
kept it light. You know,
Oh,
like
Yeah.
it's heavy topics, heavy subject matter. Especially because you start off by letting us know, like, hey, this is although it's fiction, this is my life. This is a memoir, but like there's an overtone of still like I don't know childlike humor, even up
mm-hmm.
to what a fig is,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and not trying to spoil anything here, but there's a part in the book that I really enjoyed because there's like this huge climax and the breaking of the tension is between the Grim Reaper and Sunny, right? Towards the end of the book, where they both
Flip each other off.
yes.
Yeah. That's what the whole yeah. That's sacred. Yeah.
Yep.
So I do think that and not to like put a juxtaposition, but we read a lot. One thing that writers tend to do is that they'll get in a mode of like this is a very deep part, and they build a climax, and they're gonna go for the same trope. So I really did enjoy the breaking of the climax was something that was like there's obvious growth in both characters.
Mm-hmm.
The Grim Reaper also has a level of growth that I just I did not expect to see that.
Yeah.
Right. So I really do think, and like how everything's a character. The shoreline that Sonny ends up on is a character,
Yeah.
right? Like I think that there's like writing devices that you used that were very interesting and not normally utilized.
Hmm.
So how's your writing process? Like, are you a I'm gonna sit down and get as many pages done as possible, or are you more
Bro.
strategic with it?
This is why. See, this is where you guys are gonna regret having me on because, dude, I'm just the biggest imposter there ever was. So, I don't know. I've only written 3 novels now and like one short story in a novelization form, and I tell you what, every single book was different.
Yeah.
Every my writing process is always changing. Banana Brain's been the hardest book I've ever had to write. Fig for All the Devils is the easiest book I've ever had to write. And I
Mm.
sometimes dabble, I did an alternate ending to Fig for All the Devils. I don't know if you guys knew that. I did an alternate. And when I went back to write it, it took me, I mean, even though it was like 5,000 words I added, it took me like an hour. So I say all that because
Oh wow.
Sonny and the Reaper come naturally. They just flow out of me. Those two of them are just like immediate flow out of me. Everything else is absolute death to write. So I don't have a process. And I kind of lean on Jordan Peele's sort of approach that not all writing is between on a laptop or pen and paper. And so I'm constantly writing in my head. And once I have, what Osgood Perkins calls the 5 across and the crossword. Have you guys ever heard Osgood Perkins break that down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you have the 5 across, I'm constantly searching for the 5 across on every chapter, on every idea or whatever I can. And then I can kind of go balls to the wall and hit it. But dude, I'm working on something right now and I'm just constantly cooking in my brain. And so I don't have a process. My process changes every time. I'm trying to be cool with that. One book takes me 5 years, like Banana Brain takes me, and then All Creatures Living Beneath the Sun, the one that came after Fig,
Yeah.
took me like 9 months. I just can't figure it out. So I'm not good enough to actually have a process other than my process is whatever works for me. And then I just have
Right.
to be a slave to that as much as possible. Go, okay, if this is what works, I'm going to be good with that. And then I try to stick by the rule that if I'm not having fun, forget it. Like, F it, dude. Like, if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do this. And so if I'm bored, I'm not going to do this. And I actually, who was it? I think Alan Moore or Joe Hill or somebody said, like, there is truly no such thing as writer's block. The whole idea about writer's block is kind of BS. You just write what's fun. And so if you're
Right.
like stuck on something, there's sort of like you're not writing rightly. And I have to be careful saying that as if I'm some sort of skilled writer or literary, master. I'm not. I just agree with the principles that continue to write what's fun, continue to enjoy it, and then you will watch what happens with your writing process. It'll come alive in ways that you probably can't expect.
It reminds me of, um, I think I brought this up before, but if you're if you're more worried about, say you're playing an event, we talked about this previously when I something I lived by with my wedding was if you're planning the event to make other, like worried about everyone else's experience and not your own, you're doing it wrong.
Yep.
So I can see almost direct as you were saying that, I was just like, oh yeah, I feel like so many writers, one of our favorites, Patrick Rothfuss, Name of the Wind, who still hasn't done that third book yet. You get tied up in expectation and X, Y, and Z, and I could see why writer's block would be something that is not used as a crutch, but used as a crutch. You know, like you're not allowing yourself to enjoy this moment, which should be, as we all are, creatives, the best time of our lives.
Right.
You know, is you're allowing it to flow.
100%. And I will fully confess that's what happened with Banana Brain. Is I was trying to write something weird, and then every time I did it, it didn't feel like me or sound like me. And so I kept trying to thread the needle of how to grow and how to take all the criticism I've received for Fig and all my other work and try to become something new. It was trying to take a new step and push myself. But there's that weird tension between staying true to yourself, but improving yourself in your creative, endeavors. And that's the unique liminal space that you have to be okay with as a writer going, I'm going to grow, but at the same time, I'm going to be true to who I am. And dude, that's a weird match to strike.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I want to get into before we let you go here, Banana Brain.
Yeah.
I'm super interested. I'm excited to get into that when we can. How does it connect or diverge from A Fig for All the Devils and any of your previous writings?
Massive divergence. It was a pretty big. It was I've sort of entered this. I'm just reading reviews and what people perceive Fig and All Creatures and stuff, and there's just been this sort of like horror with heart or horror with a hug is what some of the stuff that seems to be what I've fallen into in these categories. And so I think that's cool, and I like that, and it's great. But I also realized that I don't want to just continue to do that. Like, I want to tell those kind of stories. I like the story of Fig. I like those ideas. I like deep relationships. But I also just want sometimes to like derail and blindside somebody in reading. And sometimes I just want to be weird, and sometimes I want something to feel like, dude, I want somebody to like end the book and go, what the fuck, like kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I want to write something that feels unfilmable or whatever it is. And so how do you write in such a way that you can do that? And so that was my attempt with Banana Brain. And my Osgood Perkins 5 Across was, could you imagine if you gave if a supernatural chimpanzee got a hold of your phone and started extorting you? And that was the 5 Across I needed. And I've always wanted to do something with a chimp. I think chimps are terrifying. I think they're underutilized. And so I just tried to do whatever my natural go-to was. I was trying to do a departure towards something else while still keeping true to like, I really like, sarcasm. I like immaturity in writing mixed with brutality. I like people wrestling with stuff. I like symbolism and like, what the chimp actually represents in Banana Brain. There's a lot of stuff there. And so I try to be true to that, but at the same time, just make sure that I bother people with Banana Brain. I just want to bother people. So there's not a lot of heart in it. And at the same time, people think there's heart in it, which is funny. It's already coming out. I'm seeing reviews. People go, oh, it's so heartwarming at times. You're like, what the hell? How? I didn't even try to like, but
It's
anyway,
just in the DNA.
Yeah, it's in the DNA. I didn't mean to, but that's a cool compliment, I guess. But nonetheless, I just wanted to be weird. I just want to be bonkers. I want to be bizarre. I want to do something with Chimp. I want to do something about Prescott. So it's based in Prescott. I hate Prescott. So I wanted to rip Prescott apart, Prescott, Arizona. And I don't know if you've ever been. If you've been to Prescott, they have a cheapy little zoo there. It's based off that cheap little zoo. And so that was kind of it. And we'll see what happens with it. But as of now, there are people who don't know me or don't like horror and don't have an understanding of horror classification, hate it. But people who get it and like actually get what I'm trying to do seem to love it. And so I love that I'm splitting that tension between haters and, lovers. So
Yeah. I love that. We gotta check it out. We gotta
gotta cover it.
Yeah, we gotta cover it. We will.
You might hate it. You know, I hate it. It's not like a masterpiece. It's not a good book. It's just let's be as weird as possible, and let's put a chimp who knows how to like text in the middle of all of this. So
You know, I think that's the cool thing about being a creative or just like literature in general. There are no real rules. Like there
yeah,
are, but not really. Like you know,
right.
you can push the boundaries as far as you want.
Dude,
So
It's
and that's
okay.
the point that like I don't know if enough people are capitalizing. Sometimes I'm reading books and I'm like, this feels, and this I'm trying to be respectful, but it just feels so easy. Like these stories feel so easy,
Formulaic.
and I'm not shitting on anybody's ideas, but I'm with you. It's like, can we write in such a way where we take a hold of the written word and realize what's possible, and like really
right.
push it? And I'm not saying I'm the guy who's doing that. People are doing it better, but dude, that's what like I want to be able to do that. That's my hopes. Is how do I stretch myself to like only possible in your brain, only possible in your imagination, in your mind's eye, can this come alive? Sorry, I want this to be unfilmable. I don't want somebody. I want a film director to go, I can't film this. Like it's impossible. So,
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
that's a great goal to have. I
Yeah.
mean, the books, the movies, any type of form art in general that doesn't go by a formula that
yeah,
breaks the mold is the one that leaves a mark on all of us.
Yeah.
Because then you're not saying, oh, this is Outsiders meets West Side, whatever it
yep,
may be.
yep,
It's just like
yep,
there's nothing to compare it to.
Right.
So
yep. Or it's really fun to do them where these two things should not mix. Like
yeah,
Jurassic Park meets Schindler's List. You're like, what? Like these two
Right.
things. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
yes, that's a
That's like
great
that. That's the
example.
evil genius. That's like the evil genius ingredients. You know, when you see two
Yeah.
things that just these worlds should never be, coinciding, and when they do, and someone does it the right way, I think it's enjoyable for everyone. At least if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's always you can't please everyone.
No, I agree, but it is fun to like, okay, how do we do one part Despicable Me and one part Schindler's List? Like, how do
Right.
we do this? That's a lot of
Right.
fun.
Before you go,
Yeah,
I
sure.
promise we're sending you off right now, but at least for the book club, but what we've talked about too. I know there's this, but there's also your art that you've shared on your Instagram.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
just phenomenal.
thank you.
We all in the book club, we were all like, how do we? David was like, man, I just want a print of this like up in my office.
Yeah.
Like, it is the coolest thing. That's why immediately we're like, does he have a website? How do we go about going?
Oh, that's very encouraging. Thank you. Very kind.
Yeah,
of you.
yeah, absolutely. Very, very, very cool. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we don't want to keep you any longer.
Yes.
Um,
Appreciate your time.
we are hoping to anchor you into another visit with us
I
sometime
would
soon.
love it. Anytime.
We have some cool things bubbling.
Yeah, yeah, we got some
North Fig Bookshop is one thing I'm thinking about right
very
now.
much so. There's bookstore that we have a good relationship with. That they work very much with authors in horror, thrillers.
So a lot of their local goers.
Yeah.
They said I spoke to the owner. He was like, yeah, they're into like horror and things like that. So if you have an author that has a book that's in that realm, we'd love to have an event. And it's basically they'll make sure that people will buy copies, and we'll also be marketing it as well. It's something we could talk about later,
Oh.
but a lot of cool things bubbling.
Oh, dude, I'd be super down. No, that would be incredible. However I can help and do whatever I can do, I'd be down. I'd be so down.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right. Well, once again, thank you. Do you like Case or CS or what's the?
Casey's fine. CS fine. I don't give a shit. You gotta do what you can call me freaking Betty for all I care. I don't care.
All right, Betty. No, it has been a pleasure. Again, it was a last ditch effort. Just a miracle to have you,
So fun.
be on here. We appreciated you. Dave shared that you reposted it, the book the other day when he posted it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna try my luck. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try my luck.
Test it out.
So,
Super kind
yeah,
of
we'll
you
do-
guys. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're gonna send you off here. Thanks again. Appreciate you, and looking forward to our next conversation. You're fun to talk to.
Yeah, man.
No, same guys. Yeah. Anytime. Let's make it happen again.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, brother.